career PBA senior title. ESPN and the Professional Bowlers Association present the championship round finals of the Rocky Mountain PBA Senior Open from Funplex located in Littleton, Colorado. Mr. 900 Glenn Allison will appear in tonight's opening match. The winner of game number 1 will then face the Senior Tour's leading average player at this point in time, John Handegard. PBA Hall of Famer Don Johnson will look to capture his 3rd professional title in the Mile High City. And rounding out the top 5, tonight's top seed, John Hricsina of Franklin, Pennsylvania, a winner from the top spot 2 weeks ago in Montreal. And welcome to the Super Bowl located at Funplex in Littleton, Colorado. Good evening, everyone. I'm Denny Schreiner, along with 3-time Tournament of Champions champ Mike Durbin. And bowling fans are going to enjoy this one tonight, Mike. A varied cast and some PBA Hall of Famers.
Yes, it really is an interesting cast tonight, Denny. We have 2 PBA Hall of Famers, 2 former Senior Players of the Year, and 1 local favorite to round it out.
Let's jump right now to the PBA Hall of Famer. He won 26 times in his illustrious career on the national tour. We're talking about Don Johnson.
Don Johnson has won, as you say, 26 national stops. He hasn't won a senior one yet, but Denver is a good place for him because in 1964, he won his first PBA tournament here. He won again in 1972. Skipped the 80s. He's trying to do it again in the 90s now.
Trying to do it again. That's what John Hricsina would like to perform here tonight, trying to win for the top seed position for the 2nd time in a couple of weeks.
Well, John is just beginning to dominate the senior tour. This is the 10th senior tournament that he has led. He has bowled 50 senior events. Finished in the top 5, 26 of them. This guy's ready.
$10,000 to our winner here tonight. We're ready for the start of match number 1. It should be a good one, featuring Mr. 900 Glenn Allison and local pro Tom Carbone. And Thomas will go to work on the left-hand lane. Championship round pair this week, 31 and 32.
And Tom averaged only 195 on 31 and 2. None of the finalists seem to bowl too well in this pair. Maybe they'll find it tonight.
And the composite average was probably about 202, 203. Up and at him for Thomas Carbone, and as one would suspect, a large cheering section on hand for him tonight.
You would think so, yes. Glenn Allison at 63, maybe the oldest television finalist that we've ever had in the PBA.
Completely different approach, spinning the ball a little bit more, rolling a little slower, and this time pays the heavy duty fare as he runs right through the nose.
Well, that's why Glenn's been playing them all week long, and that particular shot, his speed just happened to get a little too soft, so the ball finished hard at the back end. He'll go for 2 here and just take 8 in the first frame and move on.
Of course, if there's a good news, bad news scenario to the opening frame, bad news is there's an open, but the scores probably won't be too high, so an open frame doesn't kill you in a match.
If you're going to get an open frame, the first frame is the least damaged one that can do it, especially for a veteran like Glenn Allison. Four-step delivery, holds the ball just about under the shoulder. Nice free swing. As you say, he spins it.
Ends up with a strike. A man who threw 36 in a row and shot 300, 300, 300.
Right, the only man to ever do that. Although it didn't get sanctioned, he's still known as Mr. 900.
From Arvada, Colorado, suburb of Denver, Tom Carbone was the top seed earlier this year in the Senior Touring Pro doubles, and now he throws himself a problem on the right-hand lane.
And John Handegard told me that that the right lane seemed to hook a little bit more than the left lane. That's shown up right away with both these players. Snapping on lane 32, kind of holding pocket on 31.
For the count, 9 out. So both players have had open frames on lane 32.
And Tom, 5-step player, holds the ball out. Now watch him push it. Pretty straight swing. Hits the top. Nice slide. He's square at the line. Looked good, even though it was a bad result.
Match is even after 2 frames. Big, strong, physical player.
Cashed in all 12 senior events that he bowled in last year as he comes right back with a strike on 31.
Good velocity on the left-hand lane. Carbone captured his last 5 games in match play last night to qualify for the telecast.
In fact, he almost caught John Handegard for third. Handegard needed a mark in the 10th frame to stay in third place, and left the 4-pin and made it.
Allison trying to get something started. Was the adjustment made? Yes, in the pocket, but Carey, no, the 10-pin stands.
And we see that Tom Carbone on the left lane. Oh, that's Allison, I beg your pardon. Slow speed, bellying it not too much. 2 to 3 boards.
Interesting. Watch his shot of the 10. And you might comment on that, Mike. He kind of just fans the ball a little bit.
Well, kind of like Jimmy Certain does, you know, when that fan shot that he has. And Glenn just goes over the top and lets it go. I mean, his accuracy's right there because he has that nice free swing. He's right on target line. Just wants to have the ball hook less at the 10-pin.
Struck the last time on lane 31. From Whittier, California. 5 national titles when he was a regular on the tour. A little straighter with this shot. Down on one knee, and when you see Glenny go down, you know he's liked the shot. So Glenn Allison comes back with a strike. A good tight match to open things up here in the PBA Rocky Mountain Senior Open. We'll be back with more of match number 1 after these messages.
Dear Midas customers, there's a different way to get your car repaired. The Midas way. It's properly diagnosing the problem so the work is done right the first time. It's fixing only what needs to be fixed. It's giving you our exclusive inspection and thoroughly explaining your repair options. It's honoring your Midas warranty without giving you a hassle.
It's proving that a car repair company can be honest and trustworthy.
That's the Midas way, the way it should be.
It seems your diet routine has gone into reruns. So, what's the right adjustment? The one true opposite of a cola. The one with no aftertaste that always comes in clear. Diet 7-Up. The Diet Un-Cola. When you want the taste of un, there's only one.
The championship round finals of the Rocky Mountain PBA Senior Open are being brought to you by Midas, the Midas way, the way it should be. Cameo making an appearance here tonight.
Won't say a cameo appearance, though. She's hoping her husband sticks around, or her father, rather.
I was going to say.
Father sticks around for a few games here.
A little more speed. 8-pin falls, 2-pin stands, and so you know that Thomas wanted the double coming out of the commercial break to kind of set the tone here in match number 1.
Well, he was thinking that the reason it crept high the first time was speed, and so probably moved a board left and got into the oil, and that would never finish. So right now we haven't had anybody hit the pocket yet on lane 32, although Allison did leave a 10-pin there. But nobody's had a strike on that lane yet.
When I talked to John Handegard, he said the left-hand lane was a little tighter than the right. Glenn Allison mentioned the same.
So there's always one lane on the pair, Dan, every week. It seems like when they conquer that one, that's the guy that wins the match. Right now it looks like lane 32 is the one they have to figure out and conquer.
Shot runs high. A fortunate turn of events, and just the 7-pin left on lane 31.
Tom is an excellent spare shooter. He'll go cross lane and straight at the 7-pin. Should present no problem.
Has been very consistent on the senior tour, but still looking for that elusive first win.
Well, as Don Johnson says, you know, the competition out here is fierce. These guys are very, very good.
Spare up for Thomas Carbone, and Glenn Allison bounces up out of his seat. He is on a strike, and if he doubles here, he leads by 11.
Glenn, who lines up with his right foot. Most players use their left. He uses his right. Puts that ball right in line with his right shoulder. Pushes and steps at the same time. Ball's off balance a little bit. Says that's the way to do it.
Perfect strike. And boy, did he throw some strikes last night in the final round. And he talked about the brilliant run that he had just to qualify for the show.
Well, I really got it going last night, Denny. I shot 222 and 233 the first 2 games, but I lost both games. And then, but I had moved up to 11th place, and kind of encouraging. And then I had the run of 249, 245, 289, and 279, and moved all the way to 4th. And then the last 2 games I dropped back to 5th.
So another strike for Allison, and he's starting to get the feel for this pair of lanes.
Yes, he is. And scores like that, his comment on to me was he had fun. And bowling can become fun. You know, it becomes work a lot of times when you do something like that. It is fun.
Thomas Carbone feeling the heat, trying to fit one in, and again high, and a split on lane 32.
And a good-sized man, 6'2", 2 1/4. Still looking, like you say, for a title somewhere along the line here. Better make this if he wants to keep any hope of doing it.
Little extra room. And a valiant effort, but 8 out for Thomas Carbone, who right now has to be feeling the pressure of Glenn Allison's 3-bagger. Down by 32 in the 7th frame.
Tom throwing the ball right about 18 miles per hour, but just cannot figure out lane 32. He's light, high, been high twice and light once.
A little more loft. Good shot. You're right. He's struggled just a bit on the right-hand lane, and that's been the difference here in the opening match. We'll be back with the conclusion from Littleton, Colorado in just one moment.
A record-breaking year at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. So how should we bring it to a close? With a record-breaking clearance. Enjoy a selection of Concord's Automobile Magazine's Automobile of the Year and remarkable savings on all these 93 cars and minivans, like roomy Plymouth Voyager. Save thousands. Save up to $1,900 on the sporty Plymouth Duster and up to $1,325 on the luxurious LeBaron convertible. The record-breaking clearance now at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer.
Customer satisfaction first. Brubaker Chrysler Plymouth. Car buying the way you want it to be. Car buying the way it should be. Brubaker Chrysler Plymouth.
Kathleen Carbone looking on, and at this point, a bit disappointed in the proceedings.
Yeah, she'd like to get out there and throw a couple for her husband.
I think you might be right. People don't realize how tough it is on the relatives. Sit back, and not much you can do. Glenn Allison gives it a little room to the right. Crumbles most of the bucket. Got away with the shot there.
Well, Glenn is an experienced player. He knows he's got this match well in hand unless he makes some kind of critical mistake. So there's a little extra room on that shot.
Has one PBA senior title to his credit.
Won that in Canton, Ohio.
Hall of Fame lanes.
Woo!
Trying to steady the ship.
I didn't hit it too hard, huh?
Don't bruise the pins. It's amazing to me. He's 13 years older than the majority of the guys he's playing against.
Yeah. Still beats him.
light hit and the 7-pin stance. It's incredible to me that you could maintain that motivation, that drive, that competitive spirit.
Yeah, that is amazing, because his physical game is still very solid. You know, it's a very simple game. One that he can repeat and do over and over, and not so physically demanding, but the mental side, the mental drain is amazing to me too.
And he's had some physical problems over the last 4 or 5 months, but he's overcome them this week, and he's in a position to win this opening match.
Well, he was one of just a few players, as we see the graphic on him, that he's 5'7", 165, 35 years of pro. He was one of 4 senior players that have bowled all the senior events until he had some sciatic trouble with the nerve, with the back, and had to withdraw from a few tournaments last year in Florida.
Adjustment finally made, and now Thomas Carbone leaves the 4-9. What more could go wrong?
His daughter grabbed her hair.
I don't blame her. Oh, my. Finally thought he made the right adjustment, a little more speed, fit it right in the pocket with a pretty heavy roll.
Too heavy, huh?
Yeah. One of those games you just like to forget. Of course, I had a chance to talk to Tom and ask him, was it an advantage having lived here, you know, the altitude difference between he and the rest of the players?
Well, I felt like it was. When I got into town here, I did a little bit of running in the mornings and enjoyed it. And when I got out here bowling, I don't know, even during the qualifying, it seemed like some of the seniors were slowing down a little bit. And especially I saw it during the head-to-head matches. Some of the guys that were up there started to slow down. You could see them come from a higher position down lower. And I think it definitely had a lot to do with the altitude.
Strike in the 9th. Going to be too little too late.
You suppose the altitude changes between the left lane and the right lane?
That's probably something you thought about in your career when you were up there playing. Did you ever make a show in Denver?
Yes, I did.
How'd you do?
Well, I hate to...
What do you mean?
Well, I tell you what, that was back in 1968. I was on telecast with Tita Semez and Billy Hardwick, and Hardwick won the tournament. For the 4th arrow, it was my last go-around with a full roller. I left the 5-8-10 on national television, made up my mind the full roller was going.
A painful experience.
Yes, it was.
Well, I'm glad you shared it with us. A little spinner at the 10. Glenn Allison just kind of methodically moving to the 10th frame.
Methodically moving on to John Handegard, too.
The handyman up next. John Handegard seems to make the telecast each and every tournament that he bowls in one of the 5 positions.
Had trouble winning, though.
Yeah, told me he didn't bowl particularly well this week until the final day. So he moved way out and played the 1 and 2 board and threw lots of strikes and made a nice run. Love tap from the 6. Doesn't quite get the job done.
Well, he wanted his. That's enough. He's a winner right now.
Glenn Allison will advance into game number 2. Thomas Carbone will have to settle for 5th place earnings this week. But he's probably already planning his route to Las Vegas and the showboat for next week's event.
He'll take with him $3,500.
Right.
It's not a bad week's paycheck.
Especially when you can stay at home.
Right. Don't have those hotel expenses and restaurant expenses.
Beautiful bowling facility here. They call it the Super Bowl at Funplex in Littleton, Colorado. 40-lane bowling center.
And it's way out here.
It's out in the foothills.
Growing area, though.
Oh. All right, Glenn Allison with a strike finishes off Thomas Carbone in game number 1 of the Rocky Mountain Senior Open. We'll be back with game number 2 here in just 1 minute.
We're going to have to bail. What about the Bud Light? No time. There's only one left. You take it. I'll never forget you.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Not so fast. Yes.
Sports Illustrated gets you ready for NFL football in this exciting new video, Inside Football 93. Free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. The best way to get inside the action for over 24 million readers. Call this number now and get the best of last season, plus Sports Illustrated's views on the next champion.
I like San Francisco to beat Dallas in one of the greatest championship games.
Plus, you'll get a second video free with your paid subscription. The NFL Video Yearbook of your favorite team. Pick any one of the 28 teams and get their best from 92 and a preview of 93. Free from Sports Illustrated. Get 2 free videos, Inside Football and the team video of your choice, plus 54 issues of Sports Illustrated, including the 2 big football previews for only $1.39 an issue. Save over 52% off the cover price. For quicker delivery, use your credit card. Every week, Sports Illustrated makes sure you really get in the game. Nobody's into sports like Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
The 50-yard. Indoor war. The rock and roll fury of arena football. Cleveland meets Miami Saturday night on ESPN. Both teams are big surprises. Both teams are in first place. The Phillies face Barry Bonds and the Giants tomorrow night, part of ESPN's Friday night doubleheader.
You remember last week's average builder, we'd reached the 3rd step in a 4-step delivery. And we talked about it being not too big, and we talked at this point in time of bending the right knee. This week, we're going to finish it on out. Look at the finish of the approach and the follow-through. As we bend this knee on the 3rd step, there's kind of a hole between my 2 legs. And the tendency may be to kind of slide straight underneath that shoulder and not close the hole. That's not what we want. What we want is the toe is still on the ground, and I close that hole and bring the foot in underneath my chin for balance and for power. At the same time now, the ball is moving right on down here. As it gets underneath my shoulder, the thumb wants to come out of the ball at this point so the fingers can lift it right here. The follow-through continues toward the target, right up at a 90-degree angle between my arm and my shoulders. My left arm is out here for balance, pointing toward the opposite wall, and my trail leg, my right leg, is either right behind me, or some people like to bring it over here because that feels better to them. Now, earlier I threw a shot. We'll see what kind of finish I had on this delivery. There we are at the peak of the backswing. The left toe is still on the ground. The ball is starting down, and I'm bending the right knee right about now. See the bend, the slide, the ball is off my hand, the follow-through goes straight up, and the left arm is pointed toward the opposite wall. On that particular shot, if I were going to critique it, I could have had a little bit deeper knee bend, and the left arm, instead of down here, could have been up here a little bit. Next week, we'll do a review of all 4 steps. That'll come from Las Vegas, where we'll have another average builder.
Okay, when we come back to Littleton, Colorado, Glenn Allison at 63 takes on 53-year-old John Handegard, a decade apart, but both of them know how to throw strikes.
I really didn't want my husband to color his gray hair.
But then I discovered this, the hair coloring called Just for Men.
And now he looks better than ever.
Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Just for Men blends away the gray for a totally natural look. No wonder 8 out of 10 women prefer the Just for Men look to the gray look.
It's like you took off 10 years.
And in just 5 minutes.
Just for Men. She'll love the way you look.
We're gonna take your picture. Here we go. Okay, give me a big smile. Don't worry, kids love me. Oh, it's the phone. They want you to smile. They'll call you back. So this guy walks into a psychiatrist with a squid on his head. Oh, you've heard this one. Ow! Funny thing happened to me on the way to the sandbox tonight. Look, I'm the mouse man. Don't cry. It's just me. It's not really a mouse. I'm dying here. You like French fries? You like McDonald's? What did I tell you? Kids love me.
Ready for the start of match number 2 in the Rocky Mountain Senior Open. Glenn Allison, fresh from a 204-180 victory over Thomas Carbone, starts on the left-hand lane. with the game under his belt. Still not able to start with a strike.
Same thing he did the last game. That slow speed, the ball just crept high. Right on the line, really, Dan. Just needs a little more speed. I'm sure he'll realize it.
You'd think knowing if the ball is going to go high, you'd be cognizant of that, and you'd try and throw a little bit harder, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, but you can get the other place. We can see that his speed is at 15.8 miles per hour right now.
I think one of the strikes he threw was 16.4, if memory serves me correctly.
Well, it only takes a little bit there. He's bellying it just about 2.5 boards, not a whole lot. Of course, that spin shot doesn't want to bite a whole lot. John will have more speed, I think, and a lot more head belly.
And a lot more loft.
And a lot more loft, which is intentional. He's trying to do that.
Ball rolls out in the pocket. Flush strike on lane 32 for John Handegard.
John Handegard, 4-step approach, pushes and steps, pushes a little bit before he steps. Hits the top of the backswing right there, right in time. Watch the loft. Good, 7-8 feet over the foul line. Doing that intentionally. He started doing that almost by accident. He hung in the ball and started striking, and he kept it up.
Trying to loft the ball to delay the reaction a little bit, and then he actually wants the ball to roll out, Mike, in the last 15 feet. Told me that every ball he threw this week that hooked in the back end was nothing but a problem.
Interesting. It would be not a problem for him, but John Hricsina is making it hook like crazy in the back end and killing him.
And leading the tournament.
Cross lane at the 10-pin. Straight at it.
Methodical with his approach to the game. 25 years. Never won on the regular tour and has become a star on the senior circuit.
Superstar on the senior circuit.
Other side of the bowling spectrum, Glenn Allison laying the ball down almost at the foul line and spinning it.
And spinning it, and really doesn't want it to bite a whole lot except right at the back end. Keeping the line relatively tight, 2 or 3 board head belly. Come on, 10, get out of there, will you? Oh.
How many times has he done that through the years?
Oh, we can't count that high.
Millions. A delightful man. A man, it's funny, Mike, that still absolutely loves to bowl.
He does, yeah. He's always reminded me in bowling of kind of bowling's Arnold Palmer. I mean, I think they look similar. His mannerisms are, like, to me, similar as Arnold Palmer. Of course, he didn't make the money that Palmer made.
No. Same effort was there. Tenacious competitor. Very simple game. Another strike on the left-hand lane.
Knocks that 10-pin out of there that time. See, the speed was about half a mile per hour greater.
At about 16.4. Meanwhile, Handegard chops him up on lane 32.
I dropped my glasses here trying to pick them up with my feet, Denny. I got umpteen hands here helping me do it. my feet aren't too dexterous here.
You did play soccer at one time, didn't you?
Oh, a little bit. My son's played it much better than I.
Handegard looking for the 11-pin lead, and he's got it.
Did you see that pretty follow through that time? Love to watch Handegard bowl. Well, that ball didn't look like it rolled out. Finished all the way in there. Look at that follow through. His reaction, down on the knee. If Allison can get down on the knee, so can I.
A little more room for Glenny. Circles it around, nails the pocket, and answers the challenge. A great night of Major League Baseball coming your way tomorrow night on ESPN. Ricky Henderson and the Oakland A's, and of course the Boston Red Sox with perhaps the best pitching staff in the American League. They'll need it against Oakland. That's game number 1. And then it's the high-powered Philadelphia Phillies and the San Francisco Giants in the nightcap. Probably see some long balls hitting that.
Yep.
Don't go deep.
Right now, Boston can't seem to lose, can they?
Got the pitching and a few runs, and Glenn Allison showing the grit that it takes to hang in there against these youngsters on the senior tour.
And he gets the little bucket crumbler here. Watch it hit light. 2, 4, 5, and 8, the last to go down, but they all went down. There's his reaction. Speed at 16.1. Once he keeps it over 16 miles per hour, he seems to be okay.
Handegard with a huge loft, looking to regain the lead. Oh my, that one might have crossed the arrows in the air.
No, it wasn't that far down. Not that. It was over the
you
dots.
Don't think?
No.
Perhaps we could see that shot again. I mean,
he got it out there.
Did he hang in that shot?
A little bit. But you see, it's well short of the arrows.
Maybe a foot. Well, 2 feet. Let me have your glasses.
Yeah, right. We dropped them. They're still on the floor.
Nevertheless, the outcome the same. Hear the thumb pop. That one rolled a little early, and you could see it come up high, creeping in there for the solid 4.
He needed that extra 6 inches or so of loft on that one. Not quite as far. And he really is fortunate to only have the 4-pin. It could have been worse.
That was the comment he made to me. I have to loft it. If I don't, this thing will hook early.
Yeah. Cross lane at the 4-pin.
Deadens the shot, broke the wrist, killed it, straight at the 4. And we'll take a break in the Rocky Mountain Senior Open with a very good game brewing here in match number 2 between Allison and Handegard.
Every season is more of a physical challenge, but after 26 years in the majors, I've learned to take care of myself. Like now, when my muscles are sore, I take Advil. Just a couple of Advil, and I'm ready to go another 9 innings. To last as long as I have, you got to stick with what works.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Hey, listen to this. Dear Century 21, when we met Pat,
I was 9 months pregnant. We had just relocated from Los Angeles. Pat was wonderful. She helped us get acquainted with the area and helped me feel at ease about having my baby so far from home.
A recent survey named Century 21 #1 in customer service. But people like Pat don't have to read a survey, just their mail.
Nice work, Pat.
Century 21. Nobody works harder. Nobody cares more.
There's nothing worse than a foul-smelling pair of shoes. But Odor Eater's insoles are so strong, they actually knock the odor out of your shoes and out of your life. Only soft, comfortable Odor Eaters contain super activated charcoal. And activated charcoal is the world's most powerful odor destroyer. So to knock the odor out of your shoes and out of your life, get genuine Odor Eater's insoles. Wow. Wow.
Last year, Patty Sheehan defeated Julie Inkster in a dramatic playoff. This year, they're both back, and Julie Inkster is more determined than ever to win her first U.S. Women's Open title. Tomorrow at noon and 4 Eastern on ESPN.
And don't forget, next week, the finest senior players in the world will head to the Showboat Bowling Center in Las Vegas, Nevada for the Showboat Senior Invitational. It all starts at 7:30 Eastern Time next Thursday night, and I'm sure that General Manager Jack Cook has everything in order for the seniors to head into town.
For all 424 entrants.
424.
424.
Be tough to win that one.
Oh, yeah. 56 games they'll bowl during the week.
That's a grind.
Yeah.
One of the finest bowling facilities anywhere in the country, the Showboat Bowling Center in Las Vegas. Over 100 lane beds.
106.
Yep. At the 10.
No trouble. Tight
He
match.
wanted that shot, though. You can see him.
Well, right now he seems to like the left lane a little bit better, or Handegard seems to like the right, even though John picked a finish on the left lane.
Hall of Famer Don Johnson has qualified number 2. He will meet the winner of this match. And then our top seed, once again, for the second time in the last 2 weeks, John Hricsina.
Off speed, but it holds.
What a great feel. And sometimes it appears as if he's lost the ball, but that's exactly what he's trying to accomplish.
Well, I'll tell you, that one looked like it might have drifted below 16 miles per hour, but it's still held in the pocket as we're watching it on the replay. It was 16.2, so he kept it above that 16. Handegard looking to get right back on the strike pattern. Has to hurry.
Looked like he got that ball into the oil. Did he make an adjustment and move left?
No, I don't really think that he did. I think there's just an errant shot that he pulled a little bit and it hit the oil and skidded out. He's happy to get 9 out of that shot.
If he spares, the match is even. And that ball had to go 2 or 3 boards left of target, and that's not something you generally see Handegard do.
No. It's a 2-pin flush. It's basically down to a 3-frame match then. 8th, 9th, and 10th. Who can perform?
Both players have strung 3 strikes.
Both players with 4 strikes. All 9s, except Allison had 8 in the first frame. Good loft on that one.
Wonder if he just fell asleep on that shot.
Even the best do it.
Sure.
Even Norman missed a 1.5-foot putt at the British Open. So.
Trouble is he made about 15,
Yeah,
25
that's
footers.
the only thing he did wrong that last day.
Big difference. Allison working on a strike. Key shot here in the match.
Yes.
He likes it.
Well, the 6-pin went right around the 10. It kind of stood up there, looked like it was going to fall on it, and then missed it. Fell backwards instead of sideways.
Is there a speed, Mike, that promotes the 6-pin taking out the 10?
Well, the old adage used to be that the softer speed did promote that, but it needs the angle, the proper angle, and the proper finger lift or wrist rotation nowadays with the younger players and the different types of hand releases. I've always felt that the gauge, you know, was in the release, the clean release snapped out that 10. And we see that on lane 31, Allison has been playing this lane with about a 2.5 board head belly right at, 16 miles per hour. Well, this is 31, I guess. The other one was 32. Okay,
Right.
A little more speed on 31. Well, it would figure, though, because 31 is tighter.
Sure.
The tighter lane, the ball is going to go a little faster. He's soft for that
Didn't
one.
like it. Needs a break and gets one. Looked to the heavens for anything other than a split, and he's left with a 3-pin.
Makes a spare, he'll trail by 1. But Handegard's on the strike.
The handyman who missed lane 32 the last go-around. We'll see if he can come up with his key shot of the match, and I would think he'd probably hit the pocket with this one.
Well, what he's going to be thinking, Dan, is get the ball out on the lane and get it right. Good speed, good loft. Just like that.
Excellent shot by John Handegard, who now seizes control, leads by 11, and with a couple more strikes could finish this one off.
Well, anything can happen. I mean, I watched John quite a bit yesterday, and he'd get in this position and make the errant shot. It crept high. It was a 4-6 every time. So, I mean, anything can happen in this match. A strike, though, and he's a winner.
Send it way right. Oh, my, you almost proved the prophet there. Through the nose, fortunate to end up with a 4-7 and no company to go along with it.
They could have had company, I'll tell you what. That was right in the 4-6 zone.
He looked like he went further right with that shot.
Yeah, but without the same good speed that he had.
Handegard, who now makes his home in Las Vegas, Nevada, will be heading back home next week.
See, we see the speed on that first ball, 17.2 miles per hour as it creeps high. 610 going out late. He was throwing as hard as 17.8. Strike is very important on the fill ball here. Strike here makes Allison get 3.
And a tremendous shot as Handegard uncorked a beauty on the left-hand lane. Now it's up to Glenn Allison.
You always hate to sit down knowing that you can lose, though.
How many times in his career has he stood up needing 3 in the 10th and provided it? Needs a little help on the light hit. Tried to run it out, and it wouldn't work. 4-pin left for Glenn Allison, who congratulates John Handegard, and for Glenn Allison, a 4th-place finish in this year's Rocky Mountain Senior Open.
Handegard says now, 1 Hall of Famer down. Let me have another one here.
He's going to go for one a bit younger this time around in Don Johnson. Game effort by Mr. Allison. Hit the pocket the majority of the night. Just had problems carrying.
Yep. Don Johnson coming on, though, has got to be thinking, you know, well, I've got probably the 2 best senior players out here right now to beat to win my first senior title.
The Kokomo kid, Don Johnson, won his first ever PBA event in the city of Denver. Perhaps he'll win his first senior event here in the Mile High City. When we come back, Mike Durbin will chat with our top seed, John Hricsina, here in Littleton, Colorado.
He's a cop who makes house calls, and your house is next. HBO reminds you you have the right to remain silent, but in this case, we wouldn't recommend it. Kurt Russell, Malcolm Stowe, and Ray Liotta. Unlawful entry.
Johnny Rutherford, Bobby Unser, Dick Simon, the legendary heroes of racing are back in the driver's seat. Fast Masters on Saturday Night Thunder, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
John Handegard winning 226 to 216 over Glenn Allison in a higher scoring affair in game number 2. So Handegard moves on to face Hall of Famer Don Johnson in the semifinal match. And as soon as we're done here in Littleton, Colorado, we've got 10 rounds of welterweight action coming your way. Donald Stokes and Pat Coleman from Biloxi, Mississippi. Top Rank Boxing starts right at 9 o'clock here this evening. John Hricsina still finishing up his practice shots on the championship round pair of lanes 31 and 32. Mike Durbin waves him over, and I'm sure that Michael is waiting anxiously for our top seed to spend a few moments with him. Of course, 2 weeks ago, Hricsina won from the top spot. Now he's standing by with our Mike Durbin.
Thank you, Danny. I do have John Hricsina with me. John, you've been bowling great. I want to congratulate you on that, but I want to talk about something a little different than bowling right now. I read in your bio that in 1957, you were involved in a very unusual experience. Share that with us, will you?
Well, I was in the Antarctic. We were a support unit for the scientists. And then when the spring came, we went out and decided to have a pickup softball game against the scientists. The Navy personnel did. And I hit a home run down there, and the scientists sent the box score into Cooperstown. And so it was entered as the coldest game on record. And then in 1991, after I won Bowler of the Year in 1990, I had a call from Sports Illustrated. I thought they were calling me about Bowler of the Year. And here they picked up on this game, and they did an article on that.
Well, didn't you hit the longest home run ever?
Well, they said it was. We never chased the ball. It went down off a bank and kept rolling, so we just let it go.
It may still be rolling, huh?
Yeah, it could be.
Okay. You have quite a softball career, right?
Yeah, I played until I was 48 years old. We had a real good team in Pennsylvania. We used to go to a lot of tournaments.
Okay. Back to bowling. Are you ready for either Handegard or Johnson?
Well, I hope I'm ready. Just like the last time, I hope I throw a lot of strikes.
Well, last time you certainly did.
I sure did. Thanks.
Okay, well, we're going to find out. We've got a Hall of Famer in Don Johnson taking on former senior PBA Player of the Year, John Handegard. We'll see who survives that to face John Hricsina. Don't go away.
Bud Light, please.
Tonight's ladies' night, and there's a special on Bud Light.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Oh, no, it's Ted from accounting.
The average sumo wrestler weighs 420 pounds. The average person puts 9,000 times that much weight on their feet every day. The average shoe just wasn't designed to take this kind of pressure, which is why Dr. Scholl's didn't create the average insoles. Using space-age materials, Dr. Scholl's has created its new line of insoles and inserts to give your shoes revolutionary support, cushioning, and shock absorption. Make life in your shoes more comfortable with Dr. Scholl's.
Ready for the semi-final match. John Handegard, after defeating Glenn Allison 226 to 216, now faces Don Kokomo Johnson.
Yeah, the Kokomo kid. Not a kid any longer, though, is
No.
it?
Well, maybe in his mind. But Handegard's not kidding around with it.
That's for sure, I'll tell you what. And Don knows that. I mean, there's nobody out here that has more respect for the other senior players than Don Johnson. Five-step player all the way at the back end of the approach. Peers over that ball.
Whistles a shot that trips out the 4. And Don Johnson now, of course, resides and has for many years in Las Vegas.
Teaching professional out there. Very active in teaching the sport of bowling to a lot of people.
Has to feel a little better about opening with a strike.
Yeah, even though you're 50-some years of age and a lot of experience, 26 titles, he's still nervous.
Looking for the quick double. And sends it right and leaves the bucket.
Wow. See the difference between the two lanes. Trip forward to bucket, you know. I'm sure that he knew that lane 31 is tighter. Not an easy spare.
Had a brilliant week of bowling, averaging almost 230.
Changes balls at the spare. It's going to go straight and hard right at it. And that's what happens when you do that. It doesn't always bite the lane, leaves the 8-pin in the back. Handegard has a big opening to start the match.
He'll try and take advantage of the missed bucket. Could lead by 22 if he strikes here.
Big loft, big loft. John, just a classic style. The type that you'd like to teach your children.
It does repeat.
Yeah, time after time after time. Going for 3. Not as much loft. Boy, I wonder if that's intentional.
Well, the left lane is tighter, so maybe he's laying it down a little sooner.
Is he that good?
Sure.
I'll tell you what. I'm telling you, that's impressive if that's the game plan.
Maybe he watched Glenny play that left-hand lane. Don Johnson trying to get something started again. Light hit leaves the solid 10 on lane 32.
Playing a player of Handegard's caliber in a short one-game match. I mean, you can get behind in a hurry.
At the 10, no problem, and I had a chance to chat with Don and asked him what's been so great about the Mile High City through the years.
Yes, I won my first PBA tournament in 1964 at Celebrity Lanes here in Denver. And I'll never forget that tournament because I was minus 140 after 10 games. We bowled on a finish called Thermosafe. And I said, for 2 cents, I'd throw this ball in the gutter. I was so mad. I'll never forget. I was bowling with Eddie Patterson. He threw 2 pennies on the settee area. And I moved all the way right and looked at the edge of the channel and ended up winning the tournament. It was a miracle.
Changed balls for that shot in the left-hand lane.
Moved a little further right. Got out there in the dry area a little bit more. Handegard again, if the game plan's on, lots of loft on this lane. Oh, what a bad break. Great shot, leaves the 7-pin.
Shot was a little in between, not flush and not light enough to rip the rack.
Got that 5-pin right over in front of the 7-pin. See the difference in the color between the back end and the lane there? Now, this is a synthetic lane surface, and that dark color at the back end is the phenolic pin deck. The day is coming, Dan, when there won't be any more wood lanes left.
I think you might be right.
Waiting for the ball to get back, and finally gets here.
31-pin lead for John Handegard. Don Johnson, though, is on a strike. High on the 4-pin.
Got right a little bit early, even a little more loft, though, this time than the time before. It seems like on that left lane, it's not so much the loft as if he gets it aboard right, it grabs quicker and runs high. Seems to be more critical to me for him on the left lane than the right lane.
Holding a very steady match, opened with the first 3 strikes, has a 30-pin lead. As Don Johnson right where he wants it. But through the years, Don Johnson has summoned many a great finish. 50 and 33 all time on national television. That's one of the best records ever.
He has an innate inward ability to be able to respond to a given challenge and situation. He's always had that.
A little more ball perhaps, and too much. He dipped into the bag for something that looked like it would hook a little more and didn't need it on the right-hand lane.
Well, it just looked out of sync on that approach all the way going up. It almost looked off balance. Threw it at 17.4 miles per hour as he's been throwing. It's been about the average speed as he switches balls. Something with a lower surface friction at the 3-6. All right, he stands way at the back end of the approach here. Pushes it out. Watch how quickly the ball is down. Now, it's at the peak of the backswing before he takes that 3rd step. I think his timing is early all the way through. Winds up nice on balance and everything. It just looks to me like he has to really move those feet to catch up.
Through the nose, and this time not as fortunate. So Don Johnson, who's pulling out all the stops, has already changed bowling balls and probably angles to a certain degree, ends up with a split on lane 31.
And Handegard doesn't need any advantage in this or any help. You know, you got to throw strikes to beat him, and Don is just struggling right now.
Ooh! Great try by the Hall of Famer, but it just wouldn't slide over. We'll be back with the conclusion of the semifinal game. John Handegard in control.
Oh, hi there. See if we can get you guys excited today.
Football fans, what's it mean to be extreme? Now, Sports Illustrated pushes it to the limit with an intense new video, NFL Extreme. It's football with an attitude. Your video's free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. The best way to get inside the action and excitement of sports every week. With every sentence, every picture, you'll get into the heart-pounding frenzy of football all season long.
That's what I'm moving.
Call now, and you'll also get an extreme close-up look at the NFL. Your free NFL Extreme video takes you down on the field with the fastest and the fiercest. Find out what it's like to go over the middle and over the edge. From top to bottom, NFL Extreme takes no prisoners, and it comes with 54 issues of Sports Illustrated, including the 2 big football preview issues for only $1.39 an issue. Save over 52% off the cover price.
It's what you wait your entire adult life for, Ray.
Call now, and we'll also give you the NFL Video Yearbook of your favorite team, free with your paid subscription.
I like this kind of party, baby.
Your team video takes you into the trenches for an action-packed review of 92 and a look ahead to 93. Pick any one of the 2018 videos. It's your choice, free from Sports Illustrated. The best way to get into the action for more than 24 million readers every week.
Let's show them how it starts.
Call now and get into a season of football from a different angle with Sports Illustrated. And your 2 free videos, NFL Extreme and the team video of your choice. For quicker delivery, use your credit card. Find out what it means to be extreme. Then, find out why nobody's into sports like Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
While we were gone, a strike in the 6th by Handegard, a perfect shot.
And he backed it up with another one in the 7th to take a commanding lead in this match. Well, Don Johnson left the 4-7 and now the 10-pin. And a game like this just gets over in a hurry. I mean, by the time you figure it out, it's just too late.
Funny too how one player can be so locked into the pocket and another one go out there and have to try 2 or 3 different bowling balls, change speeds, change lines, and still can't find a shot.
Yeah, well, everybody's reaction is different, Dan. Right. I mean, obviously Kokomo's reaction is different. The big thing with John here, though, is this lofted shot that he's trying. It's not his normal shot. Just shows his talent to adjust.
That one a little inside the target line. And with the loft, skidded too far.
Right. Now, he told me that it wasn't until the final day of match play that he finally figured out how to make the bucket, you know. So he's got the 258 up there now, which is the bucket without the 4-pin. What he does is he moves his feet 5 board to the right and his target 1 board to the right.
Laid it down. Made it beautifully.
Yep.
Is that something, Mike, that the professionals do as they're working in a practice session, say, try and chart and figure out how they're going to shoot certain spares throughout the week?
I always did. Although the contemporary younger pros now seem to take a harder ball and throw straight at everything. I mean, just fire a bullet right at it.
Handegard with room for 245, which would be a terrific effort tonight. Another solid 4-pin on lane 31. What will be interesting now is we've seen Don Johnson trying to play a little straighter on this pair of lanes. Handy's right in between, and Hricsina will come and just try and rip the cover off of that ball and hook it from one end of the lane to the other.
And he was striking in practice. I mean, we're going to get a rematch of the title match of 2 weeks ago.
Would this be a case of truly a guy like John Hricsina overpowering a lane condition and pretty much imposing his will on the lanes?
Well, he seems to be able to do it almost any time that we have synthetic surfaces. And the reason I talked to him about it is that he feels that he gets just a better back-end reaction on the synthetic surface, and that feeds right into his natural game that he likes to throw the ball right, and it just gives him more confidence and builds on itself.
Don Johnson, who led this tournament in the latter stages this week, will finish 3rd here in Littleton, Colorado, and course, a good confidence builder heading into his hometown of Las Vegas for next week's tournament.
Well, I'm sure he's looking forward to that. I mean, he's been bowling well all summer long, and just struggled this particular game. Couldn't figure the pair out.
Well, he had the low average of our top 5 finalists on this pair of lanes, so it really wasn't the pair that he would have chosen.
No, you don't get to choose it, Dan.
Of course, John Handegard shot 300 in this tournament. I talked to him about that. He shot it at the lower end of the house in a completely different situation, but just goes to show you, even though the lanes look the same, they're dramatically different from pair to pair.
And even on synthetics, that they're dramatically different pair to pair. You wouldn't think that that would be the case with synthetic lane surfaces. On this particular synthetic surface, there's 5 different panels out there that are joined together lengthwise on the lane.
Well, Don Johnson not coming up with the performance that certainly he was hoping for tonight. Finishes up 3rd, and coming up next, as soon as we are finished here in Littleton, Colorado, we'll head to Biloxi, Mississippi. The welterweights will duke it out 10 rounds. Donald Stokes and Pat Coleman, a couple of very good fighters on Top Rank Boxing. As soon as we're done here with the Rocky Mountain PBA Senior Open. Well, we're going to see 2 heavyweights here in our title match, Handegard and Hricsina.
Handegard and Hricsina.
They have become household names.
John, again, in the situation, if he can win this event, he would tie Tita Semes for the most number of senior victories, get up to 7. Ooh.
Hanging on. And with a strike, a game of 223.
Only 5 strikes in the game, but Kokomo didn't have too many. He only had 3, and he had a lot of circles, too.
Yeah, anytime you start playing tic-tac-toe in the championship round.
Yep. It's hard to win.
No. A test shot. It worked out just fine. Superb performance by John Handegard. So 2 players from Las Vegas battle it out in the semifinal, and John Handegard advances into the title game against John Hricsina.
45, even 45, say, even 46, but paying $4,700 for one time, $47.5.
What'll it be, fellas?
Make it a Bud Light.
Sorry, this is the last one.
Well, I think I've been. I can take that one.
What do you want to give for it? I'm a 2 and a 10. Give me 10, a 20 bid. Give me 20 now, 30. Give me 30 now, 40 bid. Give me 49, 50. Give me 59, 60 bid. Give me 60 now, 70. Give me 70 now, 80.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Bud Light, please.
Sorry, boys. This is the last one.
I really didn't want my husband to color his gray hair.
But then I discovered this, the hair coloring called Just for Men.
And now he looks better than ever.
Simply apply Just for Men, and in 5 minutes, rinse. Just for Men blends away the gray for a totally natural look. No wonder 8 out of 10 women prefer the Just for Men look to the gray look.
It's like you took off 10 years.
And in just 5 minutes.
Just for Men. She'll love the way you look.
For a limited time, your family can get on a Yamaha water vehicle for as little as $4 a day, thanks to our special financing offer. At just $4 a day, it's a pretty hot deal. Go for it at your Yamaha water vehicles dealer.
All right, what is the best day of your life? I'm 7 years old, and my dad takes me to Yankee Stadium. My first game. Sat there the whole game next to my dad. Taught me how to keep score. Mickey hit one out. Good day. I still have the program.
When I was about 18 and my dad and I couldn't communicate about anything at all, we could still talk about baseball. No, that was real.
Championship Frame is being brought to you by Midas, the Midas way, the way it should be. Let's join the action in game number 1 in the 6th frame for Glenn Allison.
Glenny bowling on the left lane right here. Really didn't have a lot of trouble in this match. This strike made a turkey, gave him a commanding lead that Carbone could never come back from. There's his reaction.
Led by 32 after the strike, finished 204 to 180. Let's move on to match number 2. This time it was John Handegard with a pressure shot, a fill shot.
Well, if he strikes on this ball, Dan, he forces Glenn Allison to get 3 strikes in the 10th frame to win. Every pin was important. This was as good a shot as he made. Just diced the rack.
Oh, look at that arm swing right down the target line. 226 to 216 his victory over Allison. Then it was Handegard again. This time it was a 7th frame double that was the key shot.
And Kokomo never presented a challenge. He had a turkey early. Handegard did. This double put him ahead by considerable amount. Another light ripper.
Eye on the target, liked the shot. And Handegard with a 223 to 161 victory. Let's take a look at the rest of the top 24, the way they finished up this week. Dave Sutar in the number 6 position, and Sam Lavelle was 7th.
And number 8, Jim Robinette, bowling very well. Bob Milligan in the finals.
Rounding out the top 10, Denny Torgerson made a show last week, and then it was Jim Brenner in 11th.
Bobby Knipple, my old-time teammate Mike Samardzija from Detroit.
14th this week, H.A. Salem, and Bob Orsi was 15th.
And in 16, John Hatz right here in Golden, and the great Gene Stuss.
18th position, Robert Gibbs was twisting it up, and Richard Britton was 19th.
20th went to Larry Galloway, who won in L.A. last year, and Bob Kwolek was 21.
Looking at the rest of the top 24, Bill Starnes was 22nd, Doug Johnson 23rd.
And 24th was Gary Dickinson's there every week. Chuck Kovacs was the alternate. He actually lost a roll-off for the top 24.
Speaking of guys there every week, Hricsina, Handegard, don't go away. They're going to throw some strikes.
Dear Midas customers, there's a different way to get your car repaired, the Midas way. It's properly diagnosing the problem so the work is done right the first time. It's fixing only what needs to be fixed. It's giving you our exclusive inspection and thoroughly explaining your repair options. It's honoring your Midas warranty without giving you a hassle.
It's proving that a car repair company can be honest and trustworthy.
That's the Midas way, the way it should be.
It seems your diet routine has gone into reruns. So, what's the right adjustment? The one true opposite of a cola. The one with no aftertaste that always comes in clear. Diet 7-Up. The Diet Un-Cola. When you want the taste of there's only one.
Here's the real beauty of Rust-Oleum protective coatings. A tough barrier against the elements. Rust-Oleum, the name that means protection.
Anytime, any place, go fish. Anyone, any taste, go fish.
At Long John's, get what you want any way you want it, anytime.
You can get your wish anytime. Go fish. Long John Silver's.
The former mailman, not Carl Malone,
John Hricsina. Right.
We'll start the match. Will he deliver? Nobody was home. Nobody left the mail. How about that? That's a tight lane, folks.
Well, Hricsina playing deeper than all the other players. He was a pitcher in softball. Used that same type of delivery right there as he does at the Spares. I imagine he used to throw it pretty hard.
Susan on hand, Lucky Charm and all, had worked in Montreal. Obviously, it's an expo.
See, and I have it down here on his bio, superstitions, none.
Well, he doesn't have any, but she does.
Does, okay, all right.
My superstition, if I were Hricsina, would be John Handegard.
You're going to throw more strikes than he does. Handegard had been struggling with his carry a little bit the last part of the last game, and now starting here. At the 10 pin. flattens this ball out, doesn't let it hook at all at the 10 pin. Two different ways to shoot that spare. Hricsina grabbing a harder ball and firing a rocket at it. Hricsina just changing the hand release and throwing it slower and straighter at it.
John Handegard, basically an equal opportunity employer in terms of the strikes.
Actually just doing slightly better on the right lane. Rubbing something off the ball there. Good loft.
Good roll.
Boy, that one rolled out in a hurry, didn't it? They left that soft 10.
All right. After 3 games now, are these lanes starting to break down to the point where he needs to move around a little bit?
He's got the ball in the pocket. It's a matter of carry. I mean, carry can make you adjust things, and usually what happens is something worse.
So patience is what he needs.
At the 10 pin.
You can afford to be patient as long as your opponent doesn't come up and throw any strikes.
Well, or it doesn't get too far ahead.
Trying to overpower the lane.
It did.
Wow.
He is so strong.
He got a handful of this shot.
He sure did. I'll tell you what. Pushes right there. See that short backswing right here. Watch him come through now. Wow. Pure strength.
Just explodes into the oil and trips out the 2. Now that is the kind of shot that a crank-type player just loves to see happen.
And you remember all the breaks he got against Handegard in Montreal 2 weeks ago. Tremendous pin action here as the head pin goes to the sideboard, comes back off, hits the 2 pin, or the 4 pin, and the 4 hit the 2.
Ringing 10 pin for the handyman on lane 32, and you could see in his eyes that he wanted that one desperately.
Well, he doesn't want Hricsina to get too far ahead of him. He remembers that game 2 weeks ago when Hricsina got all the breaks and he got none, left 2 4-9s and a solid 8. Third 10 pin in a row. This one's solid.
Hricsina leads by 12. Handyman now up in the 4th. Next week at the Showboat in Las Vegas, and the following week we'll head back to your old stomping grounds, Southern California.
Southern California, right. Again, wiping. Sometimes the ball wheel in the back gets something on the ball. He's wiping any substance off that ball that might be there, especially if it's in the track area.
Trying to get John Hricsina's attention, and he does with a strike.
Again, the patience, as you talked about in the first frame, hanging in there, just keep throwing it in the pocket, hoping something good will happen. And we're having a problem with the machine on lane 31. Seems to be out of cycle a little bit. Hricsina doesn't know whether to bowl or not. He's going to go ahead and throw.
Hit just has the pins dancing all over the deck, and from my vantage point it looked like that ball might have been a couple of boards inside of where he was the last time.
I thought so too, but he just overpowered it again. Machine cycling on 31. John says, I don't care. I'm just ripping the cover off.
Well, he's focused on 32. Why would 31 bother him?
Well, you can let things like that bother you sometimes. Gives it more room.
He's in a groove right now, and he carries another strike, and Handegard up slowly off the bench. Realizes he's in a world of trouble right now, down by 32.
He's got to strike here, Dan. If he doesn't strike in these next 2 shots, Hricsina just get too far ahead of him.
Love tap from the 6. Handegard trying to whistle one in the pocket. This time he carries, so trying to stay at least somewhere remotely close to the top seed.
And wants a re-rack on the left lane. Can't afford a tap anymore now. I mean, Hricsina just is really in a groove, throwing strikes.
Bowling with a great deal of confidence. We'll see if perhaps he could end up the top seed next week in Las Vegas. He's bowled well at the Showboat. And, of course, Dick Weber has already won 3 times there. Tita Semez always comes up with a great performance there.
And John Handegard has won there.
We're not kidding.
As John has won this tournament. Not as much loft. It carries perfectly.
That was a beautiful shot.
Well, these two had a battle royal in Montreal. You know, they're doing it again here. You said they would throw strikes.
Good speed. Oh, right now, I think you said something, Mike, that kind of piqued my interest, and I've talked to John about it in the past. He loves synthetic lanes, and certain players, just the roll of the ball, the way the ball comes off their hand, carry better, get more consistent shots, just do better on synthetics than they do on wood conditions.
Yep. Del Bello was that way on the national tour on synthetics.
He's just a tremendous player on the synthetic surface. And you got to know that going in, your confidence. I mean, you know going in that you have an advantage.
Hricsina just so strong. Nice long slide. Elbow is actually bent, kind of like Amleto Monticelli there. The loft 4 or 5 feet out of the lane. The strength of Hricsina. Handegard stroking it out there.
And again, 2 different types of players. A stroker and an accuracy player that creates some area, and a brutally strong individual who just says, hey, I'm just going to overpower these conditions.
Well, Handegard's hanging in there. He's down by 22. A strike here. Cuts it down to 12. Keeps the pressure on Hricsina. But you can't afford a spare then. Good loft. Oh, and the solid 7. Oh, what a bad break.
Bad break. Pin rolls over and Love taps it at the very end. John Handegard just has to be disappointed beyond belief with that shot. He was hanging right there, and you said you couldn't afford a spare, and you're right.
At the 7 pin.
How many times does it come down to carry?
Well, when both guys are hitting the pocket like they are, I mean, nobody's missed the pocket yet except the big shot in the 3rd frame when Hricsina came in light and got the 2 pin off the wall.
On the right-hand lane?
No, on the left.
On left-hand lane, you're right.
A little off balance that time.
So,
yeah.
You'd like to be off balance all the time, wouldn't you?
I'll tell you what, when Handegard's sitting there and he's thinking, this guy's just aiming at the right side of the lane. Watch him here. Kind of stuck. Ooh, he just held up to keep him going over the foul line.
I want to tell you something, bowling fans. There's some torque at the bottom of that swing.
Some strength, too. A little softer that time. Bang. What difference does it make? They all wind up the same place.
He's thinking 290. That's the way you grab a title by the throat as a top seed. He couldn't win from that position. Now he's looking to make it 3 in a row.
Yeah. Handegard's looking to strike out and still out of the match.
Get his brains beat out. Got it inside. 2 pin doesn't trip for John Handegard. You know, you could almost draw a parallel, Mike Durbin, between a player like John Hricsina, who just really has done nothing but struggle in the championship round. As a matter of fact, his record is 8-20. He had lost several times from the top seed position. And a guy like Walter Ray Williams went several years, could not get a break to save his life in the championship round. And now he's got 5 victories in '93, and he's running away on the national tour.
Yep. Very similar parallel. Hricsina, this is the 10th tournament that he's led. You know, now it's going to be his 4th title.
Also his second title of the year as he joins Ron Winger as the only multiple champions.
And Handegard bowled a solid game. It's just when the guy throws 8 in a row at you, it's just not enough.
You know one thing, Susan's going to be selling more of those Lucky Charms.
Well, she ain't giving this one away, I'll tell you what.
She'll be flying back to Montreal.
Handegard wants to burn that thing.
Or at least lose it.
Yeah.
Not on your life, says Susan Hricsina. Solid game by John Handegard. Terrific performance, and all he's got for it is a second-place finish.
2 in 3 weeks, lose to the same man twice. Preys on your mind. You begin to think, well, I can't beat this guy.
Well, I think if you bowl a bad game and you get beat, that's one thing. But when you go out there and do nothing but hit the pocket and throw quality shots and get drilled.
4 strikes is all he had. They're in a row.
Did pretty well against the other 4 throughout the week. And let's see if he can finish off with a flurry.
Wow.
Was there ever a doubt? An impressive performance by John Hricsina.
I guess. What was that he left in the first frame? A 10-pin? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Well, we could be staring at
measly 10.
Another 10,000 here, huh?
Well, you have to, as much as you feel for John Handegard bowling a terrific game and not winning, you have to feel good for a guy like John Hricsina, who has led tournaments and gotten beat. And then, boy, you've been there, Mike, and you know what that feels like. It is not a fun situation.
Well, you know, you think about it. 50 tournaments he's bowled, top 5 26 times, led 10 of them. This guy, you know, has just been an outstanding player on the senior tour ever since he's come out.
One more for 290. Yes, that's how you win from the top spot. A 9 spare count in the first and 11 consecutive strikes. Susan was out there before we even got to commercial. John Hricsina, the winner of the Rocky Mountain Senior Open. We'll be back to chat with our newest champion.
It's some things that have changed for the better, and some things that haven't changed at all. It's getting something back again you thought you might be losing. It's everyone for one another instead of everyone for himself. It's finding something in yourself you never knew you had. Bowling at BPAA centers, it's a whole lot more than a game.
Clearview Lanes in Mount Joy.
About our quality freshness, a lot about our service and friendliness, 'cause we give our best to you. Ridgeview Farms Market.
Shop Ridgeview Farms Grocery Store. From our own farm, we bring you milk and homemade ice cream. Everything here is fresh and waiting for you.
Ridgeview Farms Market has the best of freshness for you.
Major League excitement. 5 nights a week on ESPN.
The Ryan Express rolls on. Don't miss your chance to see Nolan Ryan in his final season as the Rangers meet the Blue Jays. Live on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
And Bob Chatto has the trophy. He's the proprietor here, John. A brilliant performance on your part.
Great finish, John, for a great tournament and week here. We want to thank all of the seniors for a wonderful week of bowling. The tournament, the trophy, you earned it.
Thanks a lot, Bob. This was a terrific week all week long. We had a good time. The staff was great. Everybody was perfect, and the scoring was great, too.
A man who worked awfully hard, yeah, it certainly was, on this tournament. Gary Beck, I know you have a check for John Hricsina.
John, for a week's worth of work, I have $10,000 for you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it. Thanks for hosting this tournament and sponsoring it, and I hope we'll be back next year.
We plan on having you back.
All right, when we come back, we'll ask John Hricsina just how you shoot 290 in the championship round. So stay tuned.
Dear Midas customers, there's a different way to get your car repaired, the Midas way. It's properly diagnosing the problem so the work is done right the first time. It's fixing only what needs to be fixed. It's giving you our exclusive inspection and thoroughly explaining your repair options. It's honoring your Midas warranty without giving you a hassle.
It's proving that a car repair company can be honest and trustworthy.
That's the Midas way, the way it should be.
There's nothing worse than a foul-smelling pair of shoes. But Odor Eater's insoles are so strong, they actually knock the odor out of your shoes and out of your life. Only soft, comfortable Odor Eaters contain super activated charcoal. And activated charcoal is the world's most powerful odor destroyer. So to knock the odor out of your shoes and out of your life, get genuine Odor Eater's insoles.
The championship round finals of the Rocky Mountain PBA Senior Open are being brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. All right, cheers for the man who shot 290. What happened in the first frame? Couldn't you shoot 300?
That was one of the better balls, probably.
Well, for a man who's had all sorts of problems in the championship round, especially from the top seed position, you've really turned things around the last couple of weeks.
Well, everybody told me eventually it would turn around, and I was beginning to believe it wouldn't. But the last couple times on TV, I've been very fortunate. I've carried a lot of off hits, but I'm sure going to take them. Everybody gets bad breaks, and we got to take the good ones, too.
Mike Durbin, a question for John.
John, we were talking about it up on top there, that you seem to bowl so well on synthetic finishes. Have you got an explanation why you bowl so well on synthetic lanes?
Well, I always get a good reaction on the back end with synthetics, and I like to play the snap on the end, and I guess that's what. I don't know. That must be it.
Susan, what have you got in your hand? I know you have a picture and also the mascot here.
This is a card from Tyler that John bowled with in the Pro-Am.
In Montreal?
And right here.
Oh, here, okay.
And he won his division.
Yeah.
And he gave this with the Dolphins for good luck for John.
Okay, and what about the good luck?
Well, this is my Youpie from Canada.
Youpie?
This is Youpie from Canada.
Oh, that's his name, Youpie.
Yeah, yeah, that's their mascot.
So he's over the border now.
He's over the border.
And he's heading to Las Vegas.
And he's doing real well.
Does he play the slot machines?
He will.
Oh, okay. John, a brilliant performance for you. Now you join Ron Winger as the only two-time champions here in '93. Are you beginning to think about perhaps 3 titles?
Well, I just go into every tournament trying to bowl the best I can, and if you bowl well, good things happen, so I'm just going to try to do that.
Mike Durbin mentioned the fact that there'll be 424 players on hand at the Showboat in Las Vegas. That wouldn't be an easy tournament to come away with a victory in.
No, it's going to be tough. There's 424 good bowlers going to show up, so it's going to be a tough week.
Any key shots in the title match? Mike and I mentioned the fact that there was one errant shot where you tripped out the 2-pin and had to kill Handegard's confidence.
Yeah, that was a lucky break, but I guess when you curve the ball a lot once in a while, you get those breaks.
Michael, any other further comments?
Well, you seem to be able to have John Handegard's number right now. Do you think that you got the upper hand with him at this point in time?
No, he's got me a few times, and I think it's balancing out now.
Well, we'll see if those two might not bowl each other for the title next week in Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us here in Littleton, Colorado. The winner of the Rocky Mountain Senior PBA Open, John Hricsina, in fine fashion with a 290 game. Next week, the PBA Senior Tour heads out to the Showboat